Hello and welcome to today's lesson, online live lesson. I'm just going to share the video and then we can begin. Let's see, can I share it? And share. Okay. Let me know how you guys doing. I hope everyone is okay. I hope everyone is well. Leodina says, hi, Richard. Hi, Leodina. Welcome to today's lesson. Thank you very much for joining. And the video is now shared finally. Okay, hopefully more people join us soon. How are you, Leondina? Let me know how you are. Arena says, hello. Hello, Arena. Good afternoon. And Evelina as well. Good afternoon, Evelina. Welcome to today's lesson. How would you, let me know, guys, how would you describe today's lesson? And then we'll see what you guys say. Not lesson, sorry. Let me know how you would describe today's weather. Sorry, that's what I wanted to ask. Paolo says, good afternoon, Richard. Good afternoon, Paolo. Welcome to today's lesson. I hope you're well. So the content of today's lesson, today we are going to look at idioms. Useful idioms that you can actually use as well, which is really important. Idioms are chunks of language, phrases, words put together, more than words that are put together that form a meaning, which can be really useful and useful to know. Right, so for me personally, I would say today it's a bit cloudy, the weather today. It's not fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's still warm, that's for sure. It's still hot. That's for sure. Leon says, I'm very well, thanks. Today is sunny. Yeah, I mean, look, I think it is a bit sunny in some places. Where I am, I'm not so sure. I mean, it's not the sunniest of days, I would say, but it is still quite hot. It's still quite warm. That I would say. I'd say that much. Okay, we've got a few people watching. I hope everyone's doing well with their lessons, and I hope that everyone is still enjoying their lessons. We're now entering June, so how long have we been doing this for now? I think we've now been doing this for about 3 months. But I suppose in Malta, I think there's a lot of encouragement. I think Malta's probably been one of the better places in Europe during this unfortunate period. There seems to be some promising news, I think, at least in Malta, compared to other places. I know my home country, the UK, is not doing great. Okay, right, I think we'll begin. So, first of all, an idiom. What is it? Well, an idiom is a chunk of language put together. So, maybe three words, for example, and that has a meaning unto itself. And we can certainly look at lots of opportunities that you guys can use to actually use these idioms to help explain yourself. It can sometimes be really good to learn in terms of word collocation as well. Arena says hello. Hello, Arena. Good afternoon. Welcome to today's lesson. So let's look at some things. Okay, we'll start off with a simple idiom, and we'll move on from there. Okay, so let's start off with the first one. Okay, we've got this idiom in English. It's called bite the bullet. Okay, bite the bullet. Bite the bullet is quite a good idiom to know, actually. It's when you're in a difficult, well, it might not even be a difficult situation. There's something you might need to do, or you might being pushed to do, and you don't want to do it for some reason. or there's a reason why you are not doing it. And it gets to the point where it's probably better if you just do it. And at that point, that's when you would say, I'm just going to bite the bullet. So I'm just going to bite the bullet and do it. Okay, for example. Or quite simply, maybe you might be telling a friend, you need to bite the bullet. Now, let's think of some context. Maybe homework, for example. It could be homework. Maybe trying some food, going to a place, something, maybe a job. Yeah, maybe a job, for example. Those are the situations typically. Or maybe to give bad news. That's the other thing. Maybe to give bad news. I mean, that's another one as well. Erdogan says, hello, Richard. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Erdogan. Lovely to see you here. So that's what we mean. Bite the bullet. I don't want to, for some reason, I don't want to do it, but I know I need to do it. I'll just do it. It could even be something like exercise, to be honest. It could be exercise. You don't feel like doing exercise. You know you should. Okay, I'll bite the bullet. I'll do it. And that's the first idiom of today. So guys, in the live chat section, let me know. Can you guys think of an example of when you had to bite the bullet, or maybe there's something you're thinking you need to do. Maybe you need to bite the bullet and do something. I think what's a really good example sometimes as well. Actually, I think going back to exercise, I think exercise is a good example. It's getting on in the day. It's maybe it's in sometime in the afternoon. You haven't done anything in your day. You feel lazy, and you kind of think to yourself, "Oh, I should do exercise." And that's the thing. It starts off by you start thinking, "I should. Maybe I should do something. Maybe I should do something." You're thinking of a should. And that's when you end up saying, oh, I'll just bite the bullet. I'll do it. So guys, let me know. Is there anything that you need to bite the bullet? Is there anything whereby you're thinking, sorry, you know what? I need to bite the bullet. If you want to try and think of an example, for instance, you can say, I know I need to do exercise. I don't feel like it, but I should. Maybe I should bite the bullet and do it. Do it. Okay, so that's an example. This also comes in when it comes to like relationships. Maybe you need to tell a friend something. It might be bad news. It might be news that they don't want to hear. You're not sure how to say it. And then you just end up saying, you know what, I'm just going to bite the bullet. I'm going to tell them. It could be a friend. It could be a girlfriend. It could be a boyfriend. Maybe you want to give them some really bad news. And maybe you think you need to give them some really bad news. Or sometimes it might be even asking a question. Maybe you want to ask someone out on a date, for example, and you're a bit nervous, you're not sure, but you think, you know what, I just need to bite the bullet and ask, do you want to join me for a drink? Leodina says, there are the springs cleaning to do. I would say here, there is spring cleaning. You don't need the in this case, but I see what you're going for here, Leodina. So there's spring cleaning to do. So I'm going to bite the bullet and do it. Okay, Leondina, perfect. Well done. In terms of what we're looking for today with using an idiom, that's a fantastic second part of your sentence. You've used the idiom properly. Great stuff. Well done, Leondina. Really good example. And cleaning is one. I am not fantastic at cleaning. Um, okay, I think I'm okay at cleaning, but some people, like my parents, for example, like my mum, will tell me, "No, you're not good at cleaning." To be honest with you, I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy cleaning. Um, and sometimes it gets to the point, you look at the sink, you look at the plates and the dishes, and you think, I don't really want to clean, but I'm going to have to bite the bullet, and I just need to clean because it is looking disgusting. I mean, look at that sink. And then, I mean, that's when I think of university, actually, that was always a big problem. And the fridge. I think actually that's a really big one with when sharing an apartment with other people. The fridge. It gets to the point where you think, okay, I need to bite the bullet. I need to do something about this fridge. It's not organized. Maybe it's really disgusting. It's messy. The same with the bathroom. I don't know about you guys, but when living with other people, I think one of the strange things about sharing a bathroom with other people is is keeping the bathroom clean. But there's some things that just happen when sharing the bathroom, like the toilet roll. Um, when I lived with people, I lived with a group of guys, a group of other men, but no one ever wanted to throw away things. I don't know if you guys have had the same problem. Let me know in the live chat section. Do you guys have a problem in your house throwing away rubbish? And sometimes does it get to the point where you just need to bite the bullet and say, okay, there's too much rubbish in here. We need to start throwing things out. Arena says, when I need to work for tomorrow, I do it, bite the bullet, even at night. You're really close there, Arena. You're really close. You need to do work for tomorrow, so I bite the bullet even at night. I think you don't need do it. You just need to say, I bite the bullet even at night. I think that's what you can say there. But that's a really good example, though, Arena. Don't worry about it, Arena, the misspelling. Don't worry about it. I know what you were trying to say. But I think your example's a good one. Like working habits. I think working habits is a really good example with bite the bullet, especially late at night. Sometimes you want to take a break in the day, and then you think, but I need to do this for tomorrow. It's like 9 o'clock at night. I don't really feel like doing any work. And then you think to yourself, I need to bite the bullet. I need to do it because it will be better. Okay, so we're off to a really good start there. And I like your examples, guys. Okay, this is a really good one. I'm going to go with starting with the letter B again. But I think this is a good one to know. Biting off more than you can chew. Okay, so this is chewing. Maybe you have like chewing gum, a sweet candy in your mouth. Okay, this is chewing. Now, imagine you have an apple. And I don't know if you have ever tried this, but I remember at school sometimes people having a competition. How many bites does it take you to eat an apple? So you put the whole thing in your mouth and you're trying to bite down on it. And sometimes you can't even chew because you've bitten off too much. And that's where it comes from, the idea. But this here is to do with things you need to do. How many things are you trying to do? Erdogan says, I give you bad news. Yes, my girlfriend, she want to leave me, but I don't want to leave with her. She don't want to listen to me. We discuss. She thinks I don't love her. Oh, I am very sorry to hear that, Erdogan. That is very sad news. It sounds like she bit the bullet to try and tell you. But that does sound like a sad situation. I'm very sorry to hear that, Erdogan. But I wish you the best of luck. Breakups are never enjoyable. So going back to bite off more than you can chew, what it means is, imagine this, okay? You have, oh, I'm very sorry, Erdogan. Today as well, that is very sad. I hope this lesson puts a smile on your face by the end. Maybe it can distract you a little bit. So bite off more than you can chew. This is the case, okay? So imagine you have work, you have homework, you need to do exercise, you also need to meet, you also have things to do as well. Maybe you need to meet people. You've got lots and lots and lots and lots of things that you're trying to do. And that way you bite off more than you can chew. You have too much to do. And that's what it means. You have too much to do. So that's the first example. The other example, something is too difficult for your level. Now, this is another example. Imagine you are, okay, you come to learn English. Your level is intermediate, but you are put into an advanced class, okay, top class. It's too difficult for you. If it's too difficult for you, it means you are trying to bite off more than you can chew. It is too difficult. So that is the example here, guys. Either you have too many things to do, and therefore you are biting off more than you can chew, or what you are trying to do is too difficult for your level, and therefore you're biting off more than you can chew. I think, I mean, look, it's, again, for me, it would be a bit like trying to do a sport. That's another example. You're trying to do a sport. Maybe you want to play football. Maybe you want to swim. Actually, swimming is a really good example. You want to swim in the sea. You think you're a good swimmer, but the sea is too rough and you get into trouble. That's another example. You're trying to bite off more than you can chew. So guys, let me know if you guys can think of anything that you're doing that whereby you are, maybe I'll give you some examples in different grammar structures. So in the present continuous, I'm biting off more than I can chew. Past simple, I bit off more than I could chew. I bit off more than I could chew. That would be the past. And present perfect, I have bitten off more than I can chew. So those are just some examples of how you might want to try and do it. So let me know, guys, can you think of anything that you have done where you ended up thinking to yourself, oh, I bit off more than I can chew. Sorry, I bit off more than I could chew, because that would be the past. Maybe you're doing something at the moment. Maybe you are biting off more than you can chew at the moment with something. For me, I think a very good example in my life would be when I wanted to teach skiing. I love skiing. It's my favorite sport to do. And I am a good skier. Well, I was a good skier. But I wasn't amazing. And I thought I could be a ski instructor. So I went to the Swiss Alps and the French Alps and I tried instructor. I managed to do level 1. And then I wanted to do level 2. But I had a lot of injuries. I had injured myself a lot, and I was in pain. My body was not really up to the task, and I couldn't perform at the level. And because I couldn't perform at the level, I bit off more than I could chew, really. And I don't think, in reality, I don't think I was actually good enough to be a level to get my level 2 in skiing. I don't think I was actually good enough. So even if I take the pain and the physical problems I had at the time with bad shoulders and hip bones and stuff like that, I don't think my technique was actually good enough anyway. So I didn't pass level 2. And that's my personal example of when I bit off more than I could chew. Let me know in the live chat section. Irina says, when I learn a lot of words every day, this is going to be a good example, Irina. I can already see where you're going. So when I learn a lot of words every day, then everything mixes up in my head because I bites off more than I can chew. You're really close. I like what you're going for. It's a fantastic example because I bite off more than I can chew. You really and truly, you hear, because it's an I one. The pronoun needs to be I. So because I bite off more than I can chew. And actually, I think, Irina, you have given a fantastic example, a really common problem when people try to learn a new language. They think of words. I need to learn words. I need to learn words. They end up trying to learn too many words. And if you try to learn too many words too quickly in one go, you will bite off more than you can chew. And then you end up in the problem because you then can't remember anything. Leondina says, when I've started again to study English, I bit off more than I could chew. Yeah, I mean, look, that's another thing. Let's say you have started to learn a language. You then stop for a bit and then you go back. You can sometimes bite off more than you can chew because you might have finished at an upper intermediate level. But a year, maybe 2 years pass, you haven't continued learning English, and you lose your language. You lose some of that English. You go back, you try to continue from the level that you had finished, and you're trying to bite off more than you can chew. That is another very good example. Okay, let's look at another one. I think this could be a good one. Cutting corners. Cutting corners means not doing something properly. Okay. Now, this can apply to homework. This can be applied to your actual work, cooking, training, whatever it might be, trying to learn a language. It means you're trying to make something easier than it actually can be. So you're making something easy when you cannot make it easier. So, for example, it's a bit like me trying to bake a cake. I am not good at baking cakes. But let's say I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm just going to cut corners. If I cut corners making a cake, meaning, let's say, oh, I don't want to put in all the eggs that they ask. I don't want to put in enough flour. I don't want to do this, or I'm going to try and do this. So effectively, I am not going to follow the recipe. I won't end up with a good cake at the end. Another example of cutting corners would be, let's say, another example would be, for instance, you're trying to do a task, maybe a work project, but you don't put a lot of detail into it. You don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. You don't do it properly, and it ends up being a bad job. I suppose another example would be mathematics. You need to let's say you know the answer, so you put the answer in, but you don't show how you got the answer. Again, that's cutting corners. So there's lots of ways that you can cut corners. And at the end of it, effectively, the product isn't as good. So I'm going to give you an example of cutting corners with my a personal example, and then I'll see what you guys can do when cutting corners. Now, I'm going to give you an example of me trying to cut corners learning a language. Okay, I remember when I went to Italy back in 2010, and I lived in Italy for a little bit. I was trying to learn Italian, but I didn't want to go. For some reason, I was a bit lazy, and I didn't learn the grammar. I didn't spend time practicing the pronunciation or learning the different bits of grammar. But I wanted to learn lots of words. So this is before I ever thought of becoming a language teacher. If I had been an English teacher at that time, I would not have cut corners, because I now know what it really means to learn a language in that sense. So I wasn't learning the language properly, and I was making a really silly mistake. I was just looking on my phone directly, looking at a word in English, translating it into Italian, writing down the Italian word version, and then thinking that I could somehow remember the word and use it in conversation. Of course, I failed. It was terrible. And that was me cutting corners when trying to learn Italian. Funnily enough, I don't speak Italian very well. And that's my fault. Erdogan says, when I cutting corners salad, I'm doing something properly. No, when you are cutting corners, you are not doing something well. It's the opposite. Cutting corners, if you cut corners, it's a negative. Okay? So you would say, effectively, you would say, don't cut corners. Do it properly. Okay, so if you cut corners, it means you are not doing it well. You are doing something badly. Irina says, wow, I thought you were always a teacher. No, I have not always been a teacher, Irina. After, it's a bit strange. I mean, when I finished school and when I finished university, I had no thought of being an English teacher. Actually, I started my working life in wine, because I really like it. I went into the wine industry, but I then thought, well, the wine industry isn't really for me. I like drinking it, but I'm not very good from the business side of things. So then I thought, well, what do I like doing? Oh, I like skiing. So then I thought, I know, why not go and teach people how to ski? And I discovered I wasn't a good enough skier. But when I was learning how to teach people how to ski, I discovered that I was actually quite good at the teaching part. But I hadn't, so I thought, well, maybe teaching. And I came out to Malta and I did some courses. I got my qualifications to teach English. And that was back in 2012. And I've been teaching ever since, really. I would say the thing about teaching is it is very enjoyable teaching. It's great meeting people from all over the world. I think that's why when it comes to teaching English as a second language, it's a fun job. You get to meet people from all over the world. You get to travel around the world without ever leaving a classroom. And you get to meet people that you would never otherwise meet. You end up experiencing different cultures, different ideas. And when you teach people a language, you end up, students teach you as well. They end up teaching you about their culture, their world, their language as well. And I think you end up having a greater appreciation for, well, being with different people that are not like you. I think, and then at the same time, it then gives you the encouragement, actually, I would say, to say, you know what, you see these people coming from different parts of the world to learn a language. It's really brave to actually travel halfway around the world to try and learn a language to a place that you don't even know. And I would say students are quite inspiring in that way. So, I mean, I love traveling. I don't mind going to different parts of the world, but as English is my first language, I don't need to worry too much in some ways. But, if English is not your first language, and English is such a useful language when traveling the world, it's, it's brave. So you guys who do actually, travel and to learn English, it's a brave thing to do. It's a very brave thing to do. Leondina says, today when I prepared lunch, I cut corners, but my husband liked it. I'm glad he still liked it. Obviously, you didn't cut too many corners. That's the other thing. So you didn't cut too many corners. Yes, it's true. Like your favorite activities, not just lessons. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Arena. Okay, guys, so we're doing quite well here. I think I'm going to introduce you to, here we go. This is a good idiom that you guys will certainly be able to use on a daily basis. Fit as a fiddle. Fit meaning healthy, good shape. Fiddle is an instrument. But what do we mean? It means I am very healthy, physically. Now, it can be mentally, but often we tend to use it when it comes to when we talk about physically fit. So if you go to the gym, you eat well, you do lots of exercise, you go for runs, you look after your body, then you can say, I'm as fit as a fiddle. I'm not sick, I'm not unwell, I look like I'm someone who goes to the gym. Then you are as fit as a fiddle. On the other hand, if you do not go to the gym, if you eat too many cakes, too many burgers, maybe you drink too much beer, then you will not be you won't be fit as a fiddle. So let me know in the live chat section, do any of you think that you are as fit as a fiddle? So you can say, for example, I'm fit, I'm fit as a fiddle, I'm as fit as a fiddle, I'm fit, I am fit as a fiddle. Yes, there we go. As a fiddle. I'm as fit as a fiddle. There we go. I'm as fit as a fiddle. So let me know. Are you fit as a fiddle? Are you as fit as a fiddle? Let me know in the live chat section. I think during lockdown, when you can't go to the gym and you can't go outside too much, trying to remain healthy is probably quite difficult. I think I am currently, I would say I'm as fit as a fiddle. Because of what I do every day. I make sure I do as much exercise as possible, and I don't drink very much anymore. I mean, okay, I've never really drunk an awful lot, but during lockdown, I very rarely drink anything. Maybe I might have a beer once a week. I mean, it's really low. So at the moment, I'm in good shape. Leodina says, when I went to swimming pool, I fit as a fiddle. Okay, I think here I see what you're going for, Leondina. You can say when I went to a swimming pool. I think here you need the article swimming pool. I Here I think you need to say I felt. I think we need the felt. I think we need a word like felt here. I felt as fit as a fiddle. I think that's what you're going for. I felt as sorry. I felt. I didn't write that properly, did I? No, I made a slight error. I felt as fit as a fiddle. Yeah, I'm glad you felt as fit as a fiddle when swimming in a swimming pool. I feel better swimming in the sea, to be honest, than in a swimming pool most of the time. And this is mainly because why do I think that? I think because in my mind, I think that the sea is cleaner than a swimming pool. I think that's my reason why I prefer swimming in the sea than a swimming pool. So yes, well, Leondina, I'm very happy to see that you feel that you are as fit as a fiddle. But maybe not everyone else is feeling that they are as fit as a fiddle. Ooh, I think this is a good one, actually. Speaking of, let's go with this one. Piece of cake. It's a piece of cake. Let me know, guys, what you think is a piece of cake. What a piece of cake means, it's really easy. It's really easy. It's a piece of cake. It's really easy. This is a good one to know. I think everyone needs to know that this one. What would I say for me at the moment is a piece of cake? I think when learning certain things, for instance, if you're learning an instrument and you're trying to learn a song, some songs are a piece of cake. So, for instance, for me, playing No Woman, No Cry on the guitar, for me, is a piece of cake. It's not difficult. But if you ask me to play Neon by John Mayer, that is not a piece of cake. Neon by John Mayer is ridiculously difficult. If you ask me to play, let's see, I keep on thinking of Bob Marley. If you ask me to play something like Back in Black on the guitar, yeah, that's a piece of cake. If you ask me to play the solo in Michael Jackson's Beat It, for example, which is by Van Halen, that is not a piece of cake. That's quite difficult. So let me know, guys, in the live chat section, what do you find at the moment a piece of cake in English? That's the thing. Let me know in English, what do you find a piece of cake? Paolo says, I did the homework yesterday. It was a piece of cake. Brilliant, Paolo. Well done. Excellent. Good stuff. I'm glad you found your homework a piece of cake. Hopefully today it's more difficult. Let me know, guys, what do you find is a piece of cake to do in English? I think, what can I find as a piece? What's a piece of cake for me when I think of words that I know in other languages? What can I do in other languages? Well, I can say, for instance, for me to say I don't speak Italian, that's a piece of cake for me. No parlo italiano. It's a good one to know. It's an important one to know if you don't know how to speak Italian. Do I know how to say it in Spanish? No hablo español. I think that's what it is. Maybe it's not a piece of cake for me in Spanish. Arena says, learning the alphabet, it's a piece of cake. It's learning the alphabet is a piece of cake. You don't need to use it because you're repeating your subject twice there, Arena. But good, I'm glad that you can say that the alphabet is a piece of cake when learning it. Well, yes. Yes, the alphabet is a piece of cake. I would say when learning the alphabet, if you want to hear a fantastic version of the alphabet, what's the film? It's with Nicolas Cage. It's with Nicolas Cage. I'm going to share it with you because it's a fantastic scene. What's it called? Nicolas Cage, ABC, alphabet. There we go. There we go. There's an actual thing on it. I don't know if you guys know who. I don't know if you guys know who. Vampire Kiss. That's it. That's it. Vampire Kiss, guys. It's Nicolas Cage, and what he is doing is he's saying the alphabet, and it's really funny. I think it's a. I've never actually seen the movie, but I'm going to share it with you in the live comment. It's a really good. It's a really good one. I think if you want someone to learn the alphabet in English, yes, you've got the song A B C D E F G. Get them to watch this. Nicolas Cage saying the alphabet. It's a really good one. Arena says, do you find idioms hard to understand? You make learning them a piece of cake. Thank you very much, Arena. That is a very nice compliment. Thank you. Idioms can be a piece of cake, but we always need the context. That's the important thing. But I do recommend Vampire. I don't think I've seen the film. It's from a film called Vampire Kiss. Vampire Kiss. And Nicolas Cage, yes, Nicolas Cage makes saying the alphabet a piece of cake, but it is entertaining. Um, you know what? I think that's the thing about certain actors. When you watch films, you want to be entertained, and if you are an actor or an actress that can make something as simple as the alphabet entertaining, then you are a good actor. Um, and I think Nicolas Cage is actually a very good actor in his own special way. He's always Nicolas Cage. It's a bit like Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is always Brad Pitt. And when I say that, I mean there are some actors you can watch and you forget you are watching them. It's a bit like when you watch, let's see, like what's his name? What's his name? Christian Bale, who played Batman, or Joaquin Phoenix, who played the Joker. When you watch them, they are so good that you forget you're watching them. Like I think Joaquin Phoenix in the film Joker, I forgot I was watching Joaquin Phoenix because his performance was so good. You then have actors like Nicolas Cage, Brad Pitt, whereby they are good actors because they know how to entertain you, but you still know you're watching them acting, sort of thing. I think it's one of the reasons why Nicolas Cage can't. I think that's why you can't have certain actors in horror movies. Like horror movies, when you're watching the horror movie, wants you to forget you're watching actors, so you think it's real for a little bit, so you're scared. But if you have Nicolas Cage acting in a horror movie, you will just see Nicolas Cage acting in a horror movie, and you are not going to be scared. You are probably just going to start laughing at some point. So that's my opinion on that. Okay, guys, we have time for one more. We have time for one more. And, here we go. The elephant in the room. This is one everyone needs to know. The elephant in the room. Well, let's not ignore the elephant in the room. Maybe we should talk about the elephant in the room. What does this mean? This means let's talk about the thing that we are all thinking. Let's say the thing that we are all thinking. So let's just say what we are all thinking. Okay? So you guys are with friends. You are in a room. You are talking about something. And you know that everyone is thinking the exact same thing, but no one is saying it. That is the elephant in the room. It's like when people are talking about a problem and no one is actually saying what the main problem is, but you feel that's the elephant in the room. That is what we really all think. And that is why it's a fantastic thing. It's also, it's a great idiom to know because imagine you are with a group of people and everyone is quiet, no one is speaking, everyone is trying to act normal, but you all know there's a problem. Someone has done something that you are all really annoyed about. And then that's when you might say, look, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. Now, at university, I'm going to give you an example, okay? At university, I lived with, I went to Brighton. I went to two universities, but my first experience was I was in Brighton, and I was sharing a house with a group of guys, and someone tried to cook when they were drunk, and the kitchen ended up on fire. The guy put the fire out, but it then came round to a conversation as, why is the kitchen a problem? And, people were saying, well, the dishes, the fridge. And at some point, someone just had to say, can we just talk about the elephant in the room? The kitchen was on fire. That is why the kitchen is a problem. Yes, the sink is a problem. Yes, the fridge is a problem. But the biggest problem is the fact that the kitchen was on fire. And that's the elephant in the room. The biggest problem that people are not saying. Squirrel Sum says, what if the room is in a china shop? No, that does not. It's not a physical. It doesn't need to be a physical room. And if you are in a china shop and we're talking about an actual elephant in a china shop, that's going to end badly. But I see what you're going for there. Some nice sense, good, potentially a very good joke there. So, guys, that's what we mean by an elephant in the room. The biggest problem, and no one is saying it. That's the biggest problem. So, guys, let me know. We've actually just gone over time, but I'll give you an extra 2 minutes. Let me know, guys, what can you think of something that is the biggest problem in the room? Something that people perhaps are too scared to say. You can use it with politics, such as there's certain things that are happening in the United States at the moment. There are certain, look, there's the elephant in the room with the United States that maybe some people need to say in the United States that they don't want to say. It's the same in the UK. There's a problem in the UK, maybe a problem in, well, Brazil as well, just to mention some places. There is a very big elephant in the room that needs to be said. I think the three of them probably have something in common, and it's to do with the type of government that all three countries have at the moment, the type of leader. Maybe it's not the best, and that's a type of elephant in the room. So, guys, I'll give you 1 more minute. Let me know if you can think of something that's the elephant in the room, but no one is talking about. And that will bring us to the end of today's lesson. I will be back tomorrow, and tomorrow at same time, 4 o'clock. And this time we're going to be looking at something called homographs, and that is for tomorrow. And it's a very useful thing to learn because it's another thing to do with learning vocabulary, how to learn new words, and what's important. Erdogan says, thanks, Richard, for enjoy lessons. Erdogan, thank you very much for coming along. I'm glad you enjoyed your lesson. Good luck. I hope everything works out well for you. I'm very sorry about that personal story. To everyone who has joined the lesson today, thank you very much for joining the lesson. I hope you all enjoyed it. Like I can already see, there's been a good number of you who have liked the video. If you haven't liked the video yet, make sure you like the video, share with other people, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I'm excited about tomorrow as well because I'm going to show you guys something else as well. So make sure you look out for the YouTube channel tomorrow. There's going to be something else that will be shared. Sandra says, how eat my chocolate? Maybe we should talk about the elephant in the room. Okay, I see what you're going for there, Sandra. So if you have said, I am not going to eat any more chocolate, and then you start to eat chocolate, yes, that the chocolate will become the elephant in the room. So that could be potentially a good example. Well, guys, for those of you who have participated in the live chat section, thank you very much. You've all done a fantastic job today. Leondina says, thanks, Richard. A cracking lesson, absolutely. I'm glad that you remembered the word cracking. Irina says, thank you, Richard. Paulo says, there are a lot of social problems here in Brazil, racism, violence, and corruption. So we need to talk about the elephant in the room. Yes. In fact, to be honest with you, yes, definitely. That's a good example. Someone does need to talk about the elephant in the room on that one. Arena says, with friends, try to introduce you to someone, but nobody needs it, and everyone at the meeting is embarrassed. Yes, that is definitely another way to where you end up in a situation whereby, there's an elephant in the room. Maybe we should say something. So guys, thank you so much. Yes, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Thank you so much for watching. You've all made the lesson very enjoyable with your live chat comments as well, and for you guys who are watching at home. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I will see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock, same time, and we'll be looking at homographs. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow, and bye for now. You too, Sandra. You too. And you as well, Paolo.